For me, growing up in South London, it's an experience. I call it an experience because the area I grew up in, I don't really live there anymore. But I still have friends and stuff that are in the same area. I grew up and spent the most of my early teens, I'll say, in Croydon. That's kind of, where my ambitions and my dreams were kind of put at the back of my head. From early, you kind of saw, your friends going down different paths, and you had to, try and pick which type of avenue you want to go down. It was actually my brother that got me into football, and he was a striker back then, so he used to score a lot of goals. And at the time, I just used to see, obviously he's 2 years older than me, but I used to see his age group winning a lot of tournaments and cups and things, and I was like, you know what, that's what I want to be. I want to play football, but when you're that young, you don't really realise that it's a career. You're just playing it for the love of just being with your friends and playing in them environments. I'll say from as early as 12, I wasn't really that good in the beginning, but I blossomed quite late. So I didn't actually get into a professional club until I was 16. I think it was literally the month after I left school. At that period of time, football wasn't what it is now. Obviously now there's a lot more opportunities. Yeah, I remember when I went into Palace, I was there for 6 weeks. So after the 6-week trial, training was tough. I didn't really think they'll sign me, if I'm being honest, but I just remember I just used to work hard in them sessions, man. I managed to play a lot of youth team games and get in the reserves and do well. I think I was captain for my second season as a scholar, and I was doing really well in the reserves. Then I was offered a contract. But the surreal feeling kind of came when a lot of the people that I'd met at Palace, they got released. And it was only me, Ben Kajodi and James Dayton that got a pro. Everything literally changed. It didn't really sink in until a couple of months after, but it was an amazing experience, an amazing feeling. When I was at Lincoln, I was around 19 or 20. One of the players who was captain played in the Premier League. We were playing Northampton away on the day before games, usually stay up in hotels. So he's come down to my room and he was like, yeah, come to my room, which you do at football anyway, just before your curfew. So as I've come into the room, one of his friends had walked into the room and was like, look guys, this is what I want you guys to do tomorrow. He put a large quantity of cash on the bed, which was all in euros, and he was like, look, if everyone does what I say tomorrow, that's how much money you're gonna get. So after that conversation, the player turned around and was like, look, I'll speak to you guys in the morning. He had the money on the coach, and lucky enough for us, everyone was on the bench, even though nothing actually happened. But at that time, my mindset was, look, at the end of the day, it is football and it's a job, but I wasn't really going to say anything or tell anyone at the club or anything. But that's the first kind of introduction that I had in regards to match fixing. Around 22, 23, when I went down, dropped into non-league, that's when it was reintroduced by another player. But I kind of believed it because of what I saw many years before. But from then on, that's what led me to go into prison for conspiracy to commit bribery many years later. What prison done was teach me one of the biggest lessons in life, really, and that was I could never ever go back there. I actually came out understanding a lot more ethical and moral values and what I stand for in regards to integrity. And with my misdemeanor and me going into prison for a conspiracy to commit bribery, I began to realise that, I can actually make some form of difference. If I can affect someone either going down a different path or making the wrong decision. You're not going to save everybody, but part of my story and part of, my journey, if I can help someone that either thinks about going into any type of match fixing, gambling, betting, addiction, has any mental health disorders, everything really comes down to education and how you can use that form of education to really tap into, especially young individuals, and how the older individuals can act as role models to become mentors. I began to form something called Five-Way, which is an abbreviation of my name. And number 5 was my was my old shirt number, and Sway is obviously what a lot of people call me. Now, without going into everything in too much detail, hopefully within the next few months to the next year or so, there's going to be a lot of information and things coming out about what we're doing and how we're making a change, so on and so forth. And I'm fortunate enough again to be a part of a team called Rocker Seniors, who are a grassroots club, and they engage, I think, over 300 kids, but they're changing their lives. So how can I use my knowledge and experience to try and, you know, take from all of these Premier League clubs and all the clubs that I go into and deliver education and give it to these guys, because they want to get to that stage, and the guys are there, they're going to stay there or even go higher. But the good thing is, you're in the Premier League, which is the most watched league in the world, and arguably the best league in the whole world as well. So my experience again, you know, it's an absolutely amazing time and opportunity, not only for myself, but for the company, for the organisation and everyone that's involved in it.